Welcome to this explainer. Today we're setting off on a massive geographical and spiritual journey down one of the most complex, venerated waterways on Earth, the sacred Ganges River. Stretching over 2,500 kilometers, all the way from the icy peaks of the Himalayas down to the vast delta in the Bay of Bengal, the Ganges literally supports 500 million people. But, this isn't just a story about India. It's a really profound look at what happens when deep human devotion collides head-on with a modern ecological crisis. The story of Mother Ganges is absolutely one of incredible extremes.
Okay, let's dive into this central paradox right off the bat. On one hand, you have this unparalleled spiritual purity. For millions of Hindus, just a single drop of this water is believed to cleanse the body of all sins. And fascinatingly, it actually possesses scientifically documented self-purifying qualities and incredibly high oxygen levels. But contrast that with the physical reality right next to it. We're talking about severe, dangerous pollution. Heavy metals like industrial chromium, astronomical bacteria counts, and glaciers that are literally shrinking as we speak. So how do these two totally different realities even coexist? Well, to understand that, we need to go back to the very beginning.
Section 1. The Heavenly Origins. According to ancient Hindu lore, it was Lord Shiva who caught this mighty, heavenly river in his hair, breaking its fall to safely bring salvation to Earth without shattering the world.
But, moving from ancient myth to our modern reality, the physical source of this river is facing a pretty terrifying threat. 25 meters. That is the rate at which the Gangotri Glacier, the icy source of the river at the Gomukh Cave, is shrinking every single year. Driven by global warming, plus some heavy local deforestation to support massive pilgrim tourism, the ice is retreating fast. In fact, experts are warning that at this pace, this vital glacier could dry up completely by 2035. That would threaten the water supply for hundreds of millions of people.
What's really fascinating here is how the local culture uses this brilliant metaphorical storytelling to describe the physical merging of the river's two main headwaters. See, the river actually begins as two separate streams. First, you have the Bhagirathi rushing down from the glacier. It's turbulent, loud, and crystal clear blue. Locals affectionately call her the mother-in-law. Then you have the Alaknanda, known as the daughter-in-law. She's calm, slowly gathering sediment from other streams, becoming muddy and heavy. When they finally meet, the loud mother-in-law and the adaptable daughter-in-law merge perfectly to create the powerful Mother Ganga.
The Ganges doesn't just pop out of nowhere. It's meticulously constructed through the Panch Prayag, which are 5 sacred convergences in the state of Uttarakhand. It's kind of like a giant puzzle coming together. The Alaknanda River acts as a spine, absorbing the Dali Ganga, the Nandakini, the Pindar, and the Mandakini rivers at these specific, deeply revered junctions. Finally, at the 5th convergence, Dev Prayag, the Alaknanda meets the Bhagirathi. It's only after this precise systematic gathering of waters that the river officially earns the name Ganga.
Section 2. India's Spiritual Lifeline. Leaving the rugged mountains behind, the youthful river matures at the city of Haridwar into a massive force, driving agriculture and hosting ancient rituals like the Mundan, head-shaving ceremonies.
Now, you might have heard that many pilgrims take sealed bottles of this river water, known as Ganga Jal, back home, claiming it stays forever. Well, remarkably, scientists found a biological basis for this. The river contains naturally occurring viruses called bacteriophages. These things actively hunt and destroy harmful bacteria. Add in a fast current tumbling over rocks, and the Ganges actually holds up to 25 times more dissolved oxygen than comparable rivers, which suppresses things like mosquito breeding. Sadly, though, modern dam projects are slowing this flow down, creating stagnant waters that are starting to threaten this really delicate, self-cleansing balance.
The sheer scale of devotion this river inspires is honestly hard to wrap your head around. 70 million. That's the estimated number of pilgrims who gathered over a 45-day period for the Kumbh Mela festival in Allahabad. 70 million. They converge at the Triveni Sangam, a highly sacred spot where the visible waters of the Ganges and Yamuna rivers meet with the invisible, mythological Saraswati River. It's arguably the largest single gathering of humanity on the entire planet, all driven by this unwavering faith in the river's purity.
Section 3. The Ecological Crisis. As we follow the river deeper into the heavily populated plains, this incredible spiritual devotion clashes violently with rapid industrialization.
Take the megacity of Kanpur, for example. Over 350 leather tanneries illegally dump 50 million gallons of toxic industrial waste every single day. 50 million! We're talking about heavy metals like cancer-causing chromium and arsenic pouring directly into the water.
This has led to absolutely devastating local health impacts, like severe anemia and respiratory diseases. And then, further downstream in the holy city of Varanasi, failing infrastructure means a staggering 1 million liters of untreated raw sewage flow into the river every second. To really grasp the impact of that sewage, we just have to look at fecal coliform. That's the bacteria indicating human waste. For water to be considered safe for bathing, the count should be 500 or less. But right at the bathing ghats of Varanasi, where thousands of pilgrims ritually immerse themselves every day, the levels range from a minimum of 40,000 up to an astonishing 82,000. Bathing in these holy waters for spiritual salvation has tragically become a highly perilous physical act.
Beneath the surface, there's a tragic ecological shift happening too. Traditional fishermen in Varanasi are struggling to find native fish, which have been basically suffocated by sewage and methane. Instead, they've become coin fishers, dragging heavy magnets along the riverbed to salvage offering coins dropped by pilgrims from passing trains. Meanwhile, the local fish markets are forced to recycle hardy, non-native African tilapia. Devotees buy them from ponds, release them into the river for good luck, and then they're promptly caught again. The native aquatic life in these middle reaches is virtually wiped out.
This quote from the late Dr. Bhadra Mishra, who was both a Hindu priest and a hydraulic engineer, really hits the nail on the head. He points out that the pollution isn't coming from the pilgrims. It's coming from massive, systemic point sources like factory drains and city sewers. The situation got so undeniable that during the 2007 Kumbh Mela, devout sadhus, India's holy men, actually boycotted the ritual bath to protest the islands of floating garbage. No way, right? It's a profound irony, but it sparked a new wave of localized scientific activism to track and expose the damage.
Section 4. The Sundarbans and Endangered Wildlife. Arriving at the Bay of Bengal, the river fans out to create the massive 10,000 square kilometer Sundarbans Delta, an untamed ecosystem echoing the struggles upstream.
So, the Sundarbans is famous for its massive salt-tolerant mangrove forests, but this ecosystem is under immense stress. Because the larger native fish populations have vanished upstream, local fishermen are forced to push deeper into the tidal mudflats just to catch crabs to survive. And doing that puts them in the direct territory of man-eating Royal Bengal tigers. It's a brutal cause-and-effect reality. Pollution hundreds of miles away is forcing these fishermen to risk their lives daily just for diminishing returns.
When we look at the broader wildlife, it's a story of survival against the odds. The Ganges is home to incredible, highly specialized creatures. You've got the Ganges River dolphin, a blind mammal that hunts entirely using echolocation in the murky waters. There's the critically endangered Ganges shark, a super rare freshwater predator, and the legendary golden mahasir, a beautiful 25-pound carp that used to be everywhere but is now isolated to only the most pristine, protected pools high in the upper mountain reaches. These species are the ultimate indicators of the river's health, and their declining numbers are a massive wake-up call for sure.
Section 5. Restoring Mother Ganga. The survival of the nation is completely tied to the survival of this river, and massive efforts are finally underway to spark a physical restoration.
The good news? Initiatives are coming from all levels, and the tide is starting to turn. At the legislative level, the government has launched massive initiatives like the Namami Gange and Ganga action plans to build better infrastructure. At the grassroots level, citizens are now empowered with tools like the Bhuvan Ganga web app to digitally monitor and report local pollution themselves. And in the scientific community, researchers are fighting back using cutting-edge tech, like deploying hyperspectral drone cameras that fly high above the river. These drones actually expose the invisible toxic chemical plumes dumped by tanneries so they can be undeniably proven in court. It's a real game changer.
Which leaves us with this final, profound question to ponder. Can 4,000 years of unwavering faith in Mother Ganga ultimately reverse 50 years of devastating modern neglect? The river possesses an incredible natural resilience and an unparalleled spiritual army of millions who revere her. Harnessing all that devotion to fuel true, physical restoration is the ultimate challenge and a fascinating case study for ecological crises worldwide. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep that curiosity alive, and I'll see you next time.